Today we are at Oxbow County Park. It is a part of the Elkhart County Parks system. This is their pamphlet brochure. And it has somewhat of a map. We're going to take a look at it. It's not overly informative. It's not telling me anything about mileage. So what we'll do is we'll set the map my walk and start walking. We came into the park here. Drove in. I am parked. I'm not even sure where I'm parked at. I do believe we're parked over here. And we're going to hop on a trail and go around the outskirts of the park as best we can. And I'll talk about the park a little bit. I am familiar with this park, and we'll cover some of that data as we go through the day. The Map My Walk app shows 0 distance, 0 duration. Let's start this workout. Alright, let's get on the trail. I'm pretty sure this is a trail. Nice earthen trail with some pine needles on the ground. I like walking on real earth instead of the crushed gravel. I like pine needles. What's happening, everybody? Suburban Hiker kicking rocks on day 29 of my 500-mile walk. All the undergrowth is greening up. You guys see those leaves coming out? Clearly, summer is on its way. Before we begin, allow me to remind you to please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notifications. Also, like the video if you do indeed like it. Leave some comments and feel free to share this video on your favorite social media platforms. No parking, no swimming. That's boat launch only. I thank you for hanging out with me today. It is Monday, April 22nd, 2019. And I am coming at you from Oxbow County Park in Goshen, Indiana. Part of the Elkhart County Parks and Recreation System. I'm not entirely sure how far we'll walk today. The map didn't have a legend with regard to distance on these trails, and the trails are on the map they're hard to tell what's what and where's where. You saw it in the video, but I'm pretty familiar with a good majority of it, and I'm going to walk the outskirts of the trails. The reason the trails are kind of difficult to figure out where they go is there are a lot of intersecting trails that lead back to picnic areas, shelters, parking areas. So it's hard to tell which trails are part of the loops and which trails are just connecting trails. I'm coming up on what I know is an old cemetery here on the grounds of the park. I'll spin this around so you guys can see it. It's very overgrown. Very much a little bit of the history of the park. Elkhart County Home Cemetery, established in 1887. A historic cemetery listed in Indiana's Cemetery and Burial Grounds Registry of the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. And there's we'll hop on the trail, comes through here, see what we can see. Stairs leading down to the river. It's pretty cool. We're not going to take the time. I know that there's a trail down there along the river too. It's an unofficial trail. It's not on the map, but I know it goes a good distance up and down the riverbank. I have been on that trail with a granddaughter. You know, and then this trail here, it could go through the cemetery, or it might meet back up with the main trail we came off of. That's what I talk about when I say that these trails are intersecting. There are a lot of small trails that are not officially a part of their trail system. But anyhow, that cemetery, this property was a part of the home mentioned on that cemetery placard. I suggest doing some internet research if you would like to learn more about that. There's a neat backstory to this park, as with most all parks. See, here's another trail that goes down to the river. Just an offshoot. There's a lot of those in this park. Now this trail appears to become as part of the roadway. There's a lot of neat features.
Total time 25 minutes and 24 seconds. Split pace 25 minutes 24 seconds per mile.
There you go, 1 mile in for the day. We barely got started, it seems. Holy cow, that's the end of mile number 84. We are 84 miles in on a 500-mile walk, and I'm trying to figure out where these trails go exactly. Oxbow is really a pretty fantastic family park. I believe it sits on between 300 and 400 acres. Could be more than that. I am not sure, but for whatever reason, those numbers are in my head. And of course, they have a lot of awesome family features. They do have your contemporary playground areas, but then they also have the trail hiking. The nice thing about these trails and the smaller loops is that they work well for younger kids, 6-year-olds, 5, because you don't have to be on a trail for hours. You can go do a little quarter-mile loop with kids. Kids' attention spans and ability to go great distances is not the same as adults. So a little quarter-mile loop for a 5-year-old is more like 2 miles for an adult. But kids love these little trails, and I suggest bringing them out here. There are a lot of picnic tables, a lot of grills, and of course there are outhouses throughout the park. A lot of pavilions and stuff of that nature. And of course they have a disc golf course. I'm on a part of the trail that I'm not sure is part of the trail. Oh, there's a little bit of deer track, dog tracks, bicycle tracks, foot tracks. Walk across a little icky boggy mucky muck. Get my new shoes muddy. I'm not sure if that was an official section of the trail, but it appears to have gotten us on an official section of the trail, so we'll say that it was good enough. And the park does have, of course, hiking trails and bike trails, mountain biking trails. And I do believe, I think there is a paved bike path that goes through the park. Again, it has a lot of fantastic features for a lot of different type of folks. I know we used to have to come out here and for school programs. They have a fantastic tree identification display where they have all these different types of trees planted alongside the road with plaques describing each tree, giving all the details. And the park offers archery and fishing, and of course field sports. They have a lot of events. Again, it serves a lot of purposes. While it might not be the most biggest natural park in the world, it is really cool. Here's a feature I've always liked about it. They have a lot of wooden walkways through the marshy areas. I hear a lot of toads. There's a cool pier that goes out over a water feature. Let's hear all those toads. Cool little roadway. You can drive your car this direction. We're headed to the disc golf course area and stables. I always thought this was a pretty cool feature too. You have to actually drive through the water to get across. Boy, listen to those toads. I love that sound. Alright, a quick look at the map as it is. We came in over here, parked over here. We've already made it all the way around, and we are over here at the Farmstead Shelter. This is the disc golf course area. We're going to backtrack to this trail and take it around the rest of the way, and we'll see. We're at about 1 3/4 miles now. We just knocked out another mile. I was pulling my phone out of my pocket to see where we were at, and before I could even get it out, it told me we were at 2 miles. That's the end of mile number 85 in the 500-mile walk, leaving us with 415 more to go. I am officially on the wooden walkway through the marshy area. This leads back to the center of the park, so we're backtracking a little. But by going back into the center of the park, then we can catch some more trails that'll take us back to the car. It'll actually be a longer trip. This is really cool. Let me spin this camera around. You guys can see what I'm seeing as we go. This is obviously not a level walking surface, so you don't want to stare off too much. There's a place called Spicer Lake. You can Google that, and that is a fairly marshy area. I've only been there once, but it has a feature similar to this with the wooden walk path through. And when we had walked through, we ended up coming across deer that were in the marsh just a matter of feet away from the walkway, and that was really cool. And while this wooden walk path is very unlevel, it was not wobbly. It is very stable. I did not feel it wiggle at all, so they've done a fantastic job of stabilizing that. Critter Corner, funded through a grant by Elkhart County Community Foundation, an Eagle Scout project by Andrew Christoffel, and troop number 744. Cool little teepee. Another cool little teepee it looks like somebody's putting together. And there's a third over there. Wooden walkway. Take us over this water feature. And if I recall correctly, there are stairs on the other side, and I do see them. It would appear the stairs are closed. They're boarded up here a little bit. Again at the top. Of course, it looks like a lot of people just scurry up the little hillside there. I'm going to continue on this wooden walkway. Here are the stairs that we didn't come up or down. It's pretty cool how they built the dock around that tree. Just want to show you each one of those trees planted, and these trees has a post with a number on it, and then all of these trees here, this is the tree identification area, and each of these trees are different, and you would find the corresponding number and learn about the tree. Here's the observation tower. Again, it used to be wooden, and it used to be a lot taller, and it used to be way out there. But somebody caught it on fire, burned it down, and they erected this one out of steel. Let's go ahead and climb up there and see what we can see. Whoa, and here's the observation tower. We are up at the top. It wiggles a little bit when the wind blows. A bit of vertigo. And of course, there's plenty of space up here for people. That could be higher than the old tower because it is built on higher ground. But that old tower was pretty neat. You can do some deep dive research by Googling Oxbow Park. There is a neat history, the property, the history to the Elkhart home that I mentioned earlier, and the cemetery that was part of that. Okay, we are back at the car here, and this was the route we took. Came through this loop. We started and walked alongside the river all the way. Are you following that? And we crossed over to this area. That's where we stopped and looked at the map last, the farmstead shelter. Then we hiked back to this point and came around. Came through. Here's where we went through the marshland with the wooden walk path, and then followed the trail alongside. Back this direction. Right in here is the observation tower, and then a quick little hike back to the parking, and that's where we're at. Let's see what Map My Walk has to say. Map My Walk is saying 3.22 miles. We will pause that up. We'll hold the finish. So that wasn't a bad walk. 3.22 miles.
Workout finish.
So there you go. The end of day 29, the end of mile number 86 here at Oxbow Park. One last reminder to please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notifications, leave some comments and questions, share the video on your favorite social media platforms, like the video if you did indeed like the video, and come back tomorrow. Thanks so much once again for hanging out with me, Suburban Hiker. We'll see you in the next video.